I'm Emma the Morris Dancer, and last year I did a bunch of videos which I called Christmas Treats and Traditions, and this year I've decided to do a video about Christmas crackers. So just a little bit of background on me. I'm a dual US-UK national. I was born and brought up in the UK where I continue to live, but I've travelled quite extensively to the US. I've visited the US on at least 30 separate occasions across my life. I don't know the exact number. And I did spend Christmas in the US for the first 22 or so years of my life. So I'm just going to talk about what a Christmas cracker is, its history, and kind of where you come across them in the UK, what we do with them. They were invented apparently by someone called Tom Smith in 1847. Originally created as a development for his bonbon sweets that he was selling, and I think he had a problem with sales, and therefore he was like trying to come up with tactics of things to kind of increase sales, and started putting love notes inside the wrappers. The crackle effect was apparently added after he put a log on his fire and was inspired by that. The sweet was eventually dropped and just replaced by a trinket, and his son Walter Smith introduced many of the elements we're used to seeing in a Christmas cracker today, such as the paper hat. So I'll show you a Christmas cracker. So to me this looks like a pretty standard kind of decoration, size, etc. It's a very standard Christmas cracker. The time where you would come across a Christmas cracker would most commonly be at a Christmas dinner. Either a Christmas dinner that you're having on Christmas Day at your house, or possibly in the lead up to Christmas, if you've gone out with your hobby group or your work group or whatever, you've gone to a restaurant or a pub and you've gone for a Christmas meal, then all of the places at the table are very, very, very likely to be set with a Christmas cracker. And the time at which we would do them would be before the meal, before the starters, but possibly after you've got your drinks. You might do them all at the same time. If you've got a very large group, there's 20 of you around the table, it's possible that you won't actually coordinate for you to all do your crackers at the same time. There might be a few bursts of little groups. So each person would take an end. So I'm going to say at this point, I am going to have to crack a cracker by myself. But you would never do that. You would always do it with another person. And it's likely, as I said, that you would all be doing it at once. Some people like to cross their arms. It's not mandatory. Some people feel it's mandatory maybe. So I am going to pull a cracker by myself. But I'm also going to try, and I'm probably going to bring all these to the pub later. I'm going to the pub for Christmas Eve. I'm just going to give them to my friends and see if I can get a clip of everyone pulling the crackers so you can actually see what it's supposed to look like. But for now, I'm going to get my raccoon to help me pull it with me so I don't feel quite so silly. This actually feels less silly than pulling it by myself. So you have that here, little guy. I'm going to have to help him, and I'm going to do this one.
1, 2, 3.
There's a little bit of a almost like a smell like when you set a match off. I don't actually know what they use to make the crackle, but presumably, I mean, it's something that a lot of airlines won't let you travel with Christmas crackers. I believe they're banned on all US airlines. So obviously it's got a short end and a big end. Some people will say the person with the big bit is the winner and they get what's inside. In practice, if you've got a table of say 6 people, everyone's going to get a gift. If you pull them all and you end up with 2 long bits, you're going to hand one. You're not going to go, oh hee hee, 2 hats for me and none for you. There will always be a paper hat. So if you ever see pictures of British people eating a Christmas dinner, you'll probably notice that they all have these paper hats on their head, because they will have pulled their Christmas cracker. The other thing that you will almost always get in a Christmas cracker, and I'm expecting to get one in here, is going to be a joke. What's a child's favourite king at Christmas? A stocking. So that's a very, very typical joke. It will be typically Christmas or winter or seasonally themed, short, and probably include a pun. And you will sometimes hear British people refer to Christmas cracker jokes, basically meaning like a bit of a bad joke that is probably a pun. It then also on here gives me a suggestion for a charade that I should do. I should do charades for Shake It Off, which apparently is a Taylor Swift song. And it also gives me a conversation starter. If you were in a pantomime, which role would you play? And I'm not even going to talk about pantomime in this video because that's another British Christmas tradition that I think Americans aren't quite so big on. The conversation starter and the charade are not necessarily mandatory in a Christmas cracker. I mean, I'm not surprised to get it, but it's the joke. You would always get a joke, I think. But you might get something else. You might get a character if you want to play a game, like you're going to guess who your character is or something like that. And you will get a trinket or a toy. Now, up until fairly recent years, I used to get quite a lot of plastic like little trinkets or like a mini comb or like something like that. Increasingly, with environmental sort of awareness and stuff, more and more Christmas cracker companies have been deciding to put stuff in their Christmas crackers that are more environmentally friendly. So I actually just have this cardboard thing with a picture of a snowman on it. And you can also buy more and less expensive Christmas crackers that can have more and less exciting gifts. Right, I've just knocked the table. I've actually got a few years ago, I got a tape measure in a Christmas cracker, which I still carry around in my purse. Here it is, which I'm looking for. So I got this tape measure in a Christmas cracker a few years ago, which I just keep in my purse just in case I need a tape measure. You might get something like a mini bouncy ball. Sometimes it will have like a mini puzzle, or you might get like a little jacks game or something like that. But obviously it's going to fit in here, and it's probably going to be something that's worth, you know, it's not even going to be worth the cost of the crackers, right? So I spent £7 on this box of 12 crackers. So yeah, it's not going to have high value gifts in the crackers. So one of the reasons I think they're so popular in the UK, or they've maintained popularity, is I think they kind of really help break the ice. Often you're socialising in an environment with people where you're not used to socialising in that type of environment with those people. So like say you're out for a work dinner, you know, with your work colleagues, you know, you're used to seeing them, but you're not used to seeing them at dinner. And it's the same with your hobby groups, you know, it depends on the group, but you might be used to seeing them in a more classroom environment, or in a more activity-based environment, or on a sport pitch, or something like that. And it can feel awkward to hang out with people, you know, in a restaurant or in a pub when you're not used to doing that, eating dinner. So I think the Christmas cracker, you know, especially the fact that we tend to do them at the start of the meal before we've got the food, they kind of help ease in to that kind of that conversation. There's a bit of small talk. Everybody's just been given a joke. There's an activity. We're all pulling the crackers. One of the reasons I think they're less heard of outside of the UK is they're not really spotlighted or like talked about in a big way. Like nobody's going to be like, oh, I'm going off to my Christmas work dinner. I can't wait for the Christmas crackers. They're just there. They're not like the highlight or the centerpiece of the occasion. They're just like a little thing that we do before the meal. It's like a present, isn't it? You know, it's like unwrapping something, but in an exciting way. You know, it just gives you a little activity, a little toy or a little trinket. That's pretty much wrapping up my video for today. If you want to have a British Christmas, get yourself some Christmas crackers.